Hello, hello.
Us, and let's get a new set. And then we made the criteria a little bit more difficult. This time around, before we hire you, we have to assess you, and you must score above 75%. So that was what helped us. So the second assessment, we noticed like 10, 12% improvement, but the real change started in the third assessment because this was done every single month. The third one, we started noticing like 30% improvement, and the fourth one, we got two children who scored 380. And we got like 5 who scored 370. And we noticed that the improvement became very drastic. So we now knew that what we're doing is working. Another way we also wanted to prove it was let's even assess them based on the standard JAMB mock exam. And we see a lot of them were scoring 300 easily. So that became very interesting. Now, we now started engaging with Athena Centre to see how we can be able to replicate exactly that same model in Obosi. And we exactly did the same thing. So we noticed that this works. And a lot, we have 1.9 million children who registered for JAMB. And we only have 268 from my village and a little less than 1,000 from Obosi. This is not even up to 0.00001% of the people that are actually writing the assessment. So we want to see how we can help more people. So we noticed something else. We said, okay, you know what? We've been able to replicate it in Ngwo, and we've done it in Obosi. How can we give more children opportunity? During this JAM, 1.9 million registered, 260,000 participated in the mock. So where are the 1.7 plus? So what is the fate for them? Because of our power with technology and our strong relationship with Athena Centre, we said, you know what, I think is very critical that we have to be able to solve the problem for our dear nation. Because if we don't do it, we don't even know who else that can do it. And that is why we have to now intentionally invest in a platform that can scale. This time around, everybody in Nigeria can actually write an assessment, get their scores, see where they got issues, see all the analysis. This time around, it's no more limited to people in my village or in Obosi. It's now for every Nigerian. So this is what we're trying to achieve. How can we give every single child? Because fundamentally, the right of every single Nigerian child is to have qualitative education. It's not something for the rich. It's not something for the middle class. It's not something for the poor. It's something for everyone. How can we help these children? And that is what we are doing. So right now, When we started this conversation, I became the happiest person on earth. Because anytime I sleep and I wake up and I see that a lot more children are going to be impacted by what we do, it gives us a lot of hope. And that is why we are super excited, we are super happy to be able to partner with Athena Centre, to be able to achieve, for me, I call it one of the greatest things that can ever happen in this country. Because I believe that if more people are educated, our problems will disappear. And I also want to share something very interesting. We never planned it, but we noticed something. From July till this date, the crime rate in my village, in Ngwo, reduced to almost zero. Do you know why? We consumed all the energy that could have committed crime, and we focused them into learning. So imagine if you can consume energy that could have committed multiple crimes and focus them into learning. Without shooting anybody, we can create a better society that will be so good for each and every one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause again for him. Thank you for sharing that story. It's always great to make a connection as to a particular problem and seeing the need and also bringing about some form of solution to that particular need. Thank you. Okay, so next I'd like to welcome the Chancellor, Athena Centre, Chief Osita Chidoka, for his presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good day, everybody. Welcome to the media and the guests who came physically, and for those who are online. Can I have the presentation, please? So, thank you. Okay, so I want to briefly take you through the Athena Centre, who we are, what we do, and link it up to what Alex has told you about what is going on here. So on the first slide, can we go to the next slide? Yes. So we are here to help the effort to promote constructive and evidence-based dialogue while providing a platform for capacity building in the governance space. There is a problem in Nigeria that I have very well identified with, first as former Corps Marshal and as minister. There is a dearth of human capacity. So when we say education is failing, it is not the school, it is not the classroom that failed, it is not the curriculum really that failed. It is the capacity to deliver this consistently and within standards that have failed. So we have a human problem. So our vision in the Athena Institute is, in the Athena Centre for Policy. Can you be following me with the slides, please? Our vision is to be a premier, independent, trusted, non-partisan and evidence-based policy and leadership research center. And I want you to just put on the word non-partisan. Our information will be evidence-based. Our data will speak to the issues and we will find constructive solution. Our mission is to deliver impactful research and create cutting-edge training programs that shape the future of governance and nurture the next generation of leaders. So what we do, we are going to be conducting in-depth research on public policy issues related to leadership and governance. We are regularly publishing findings in various formats, such as research papers, white papers, and toolkits. and we'll be hosting webinars and podcasts like what we're doing today to disseminate information. Now, so as part of what we do, we'll be bringing out regular publications. So we have the quarterly, first of all, we have the weekly newsletter, Leadership Weekly. We have the monthly policy polls, and then we have the quarterly governance insights. And then we have the annual report, Athena Annual Review. And then we have special reports and white papers that are on targeted specific areas. And sometimes we will also publish the Athena Confidential, the one we will share only with those who are involved in that area, and to ensure that we're actually making changes, not to win a public opinion in the public space. So our leadership programs, we have Leadership and Governance Essentials. I think that governance is totally weakened in Nigeria, and I believe that we shall begin to train, to begin to discuss that young level 8 officers, level 9 officers will go back again and learn the basic essentials. Why am I working for government? What am I expected to do? Why do people move from ministry to ministry? Why am I going to take me 30 years to become permanent secretary? The idea is that you are supposed to learn across the ministries. You're supposed to have experience. You're supposed to know who is where, because every single policy has implications for everybody. So once you start a policy, there's an urban problem, there is a transportation problem, there is a planning problem, there is a health problem. You will see that everything is intertwined. That's why the civil servant is supposed to be rounded to be able to deliver that. And I'm sure many of them don't know that anymore. Then we're going to have leadership, transparency and accountability training. Our civil servants are still stuck in the mode of secrecy, but we're saying there is secrecy for national security and there is transparency to ensure accountability, to ensure that people do what they're supposed to do. And we're going to help them do that. There's leadership and school management certification program for head teachers and principals of schools. We want to share with them our toolkit on how to make their schools work. Sometimes we over-centralize problems. Problems can be solved at a very small local level. And that is what Poland did to become one of the top education performers in Europe. They had a crazy minister of education who had no background in education, who came and said, you know what we're doing is not working. We need to do it differently. And how do we do it differently? He says, I will empower the schools. They should take decisions about their curriculum. They should take decisions about the outcome of the students, and we will hold them accountable when they come for general exams. So we can actually bring out the problem from looking at Abuja and take it down. But the reason is that the teachers and the principals and head teachers in schools have to know what to do. And we're going to support them with free tools to be able to do that. Then we have the Leadership and National Unity Boot Camp for senior prefects. So we want to begin the idea of democratization from secondary schools. We want to share with schools the idea of elections, the idea of electing their prefects. Maybe the school will nominate the people they want and the students vote. We think that election is not an event. It is a process. That is why you go to Pakistan, you go to Brazil, they're not discussing election rigging. You finish elections, nobody is talking about rigging. Everybody is talking about who won, who lost, because election is taken for granted. India will be doing elections with 800 million people, and nobody is talking about the rigging part. Everybody is just trying to figure out, how do we make the voters vote for us? Nobody is talking about who is in control of police, who is in control of INEC, who is in control of the presiding officer. No, people have gone beyond that, and we think we can help the country do that. Now, we have also certified courses, and these are is on our website that people are going to go through. We hope to partner with some agencies to bring that to our public sector on governance. Now, part of what we do is our research areas. The next slide is our research areas. So we're focusing on education because we believe it is the foundation of a country. The quality of our education determines where we will be as a country. The fact that the last admissions to university, only one person was an international student that came to Nigeria to study law. One. In medicine, one. So the fact that when we were in Nsukka, people were from Zimbabwe, from South Africa. If you go to Ibadan, you saw people from different West African countries in Nigeria. Today, we do not manufacture education. Instead, we are net importers of education. Our children are in Uganda, in schools in Kenya. Our children are in London, they are in America, because we cannot manufacture a basic output like education. And I believe that the over close to $1 billion we spend in foreign school fees a year can turn around the fortune of our Nigerian universities and secondary schools if we look at education as a product. Nigeria needs to manufacture ISO 9001 certified product called education. That is what Harvard is. That is what Oxford is. That is what Yale is. They are manufacturing education that is acceptable to everybody in the world because the process is known. So we need to do that. We're going to look at security. Please go back one more time. Elections, infrastructure, civil service reforms, institution strengthening, and governance improvement. Now, to what we're here for today, the Athena Centre and Educare, and I will tell you that what is happening today is phenomenal. Because when he started this program, please go to the next slide. I saw it on Twitter, and I reached out to Alex, and that's how this partnership came about. I saw what he was doing in Ungo, and I said, can we do this in Obosi? And when we did it in Obosi, it was very interesting what we saw. First of all, we had Ogidi Zone, which is 3 local governments, which make up a school zone in Anambra. They have about 40 schools. They have 3,300 and something students in SS3. So we randomly selected from all the schools about 200 and something students, and they took the test in our center. Now, the best performance we got, average performance we got in English language for science students was 30.5%. For art students, it was 25.5 students. This was something interesting to me. The science students were better than the art students in English language. And then when we looked at the least performance, we saw that physics for the science students was where they scored the lowest, 12%. Mathematics, 18%. We also saw that the result for the arts, if you look at CRS, economics, English, maths, and government, the average total score was 21.4%. For the science students, chemistry was 22%, physics 18%, English 28%, maths 18%. Now, what this tells us, if you look at the topics, if you look on the right side is the best topic performance. So in terms of topics, bearing and distance in mathematics were where the students performed best. If you look at environmental pollution in chemistry, they performed best in it. Citizenship in government was one of the places they did well. Economics as a science is one of the places they did well. Now, the topics where they performed very lowly was algebraic expression. The students performed lowly in algebraic expression. Inorganic chemistry was very poor. And then Nigerian history and government was another poor outing. Now, this was very revealing to me because I like to speak to numbers. I like to speak to data. I like to be driven by information. So when we saw this, we realized that we had a problem in our hands. If this is happening in a top performing state like Anambra. But what we found out was that the students were far more intelligent than they performed in the exam. Because what we are doing next now is that we are giving them paper exam and online exam. And we are beginning to see a difference in the results. They were not familiar with the computer. 80% of them had not used a computer as they were heading to that exam. So we figured that the majority of people who perform in JAMB, we haven't measured how do they perform in JAMB. That's why we invited some of these governors to come in here today and see how we can mainstream computer-based testing in schools. After 11 years of JAMB doing computer-based testing, it is not right that schools or cluster of schools do not have computer centers where they can regularly practice, where they can test, and where they can then be ready to take external exams. And I think that that's what we want to achieve. Now, if you look at the Educare performance, you will see that the preparatory test, you will see that 30 to 40% never use their computer in their life. About 45% don't own a smartphone, so they don't even have access to reach them. So if you look at topics with the best average, mathematics, I've already mentioned it. So what we are here to do today is to scale this nationally. We want the whole students in Nigeria to go to their parents' phone, to go to the computer in their uncle's house, to go to in the computers in the ICT centers. My center in Obosi is going to be opening every weekend for students to freely go in and test themselves. Now we want to see them practice. It's already late to the exam, but we will have to start. The perfection is the enemy of the good. We think that what we learn from this year's own will impact how we'll do the next year's program. So we are thinking that what we are gathered here today is to say, computer-based testing is the way to go. It is the future of the country. But we need to intensify. We need to dig deeper into how to mainstream computer-based testing into our schools. Failure to mainstream it will continue to give us the poor results that we are getting. And not just the poor results, will continue to bring a generation of Nigerians who do not have the skills for the global community. And that's the most important. And beyond that, we are gathering the information of the subjects where students performed poorly. And we are putting it together to each school where they come from and telling the school, your teachers in chemistry are not teaching the students right in these subjects. Your teachers in mathematics are not teaching them right in these subjects. So you need to do something about this subject. So there's a whole policy output about what is right and what is wrong. And in the Athena Centre, we have also gone into a program, the Career Mentorship Program. I intend to mentor young Nigerians. About 9,500 people are on that site. They are currently going through a course. We have about 1,000 of them going a course on the Educare platform. We're using the Educare platform to results that will come out of it will be a rich trove of data for us in Athena Centre. We're hiring a lot of people online to help us look through this data, analyze it by location, by state, by school, and by different data to be able to make informed policy decisions about our educational sector at the secondary school. My name is Osita Chidoka. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause for him. Thank you. Really speaking a whole lot about data. Data really does provide for extremely important information so that we can determine the next phases, to go through, and also sharing from all that the Athena Centre has been doing. I'm particularly excited about this partnership, and I also love the way he ended it by saying, join us, in this massive goal of getting 1 million students to test themselves before their examination. So please, a round of applause again for him. Great work that this partnership is doing. I'd like to, of course, now invite to the podium Mrs. Chinwe Okoli. She's going to be representing Governor Chukwuma Soludo for her presentation. Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, the Vice Chancellor, the Chancellor, the organizers, Athena and Educare, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. I'm really delighted to be here having this very important conversation, and I am here on behalf of my principal, the Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR. who is unavoidably absent because he's currently hosting the Executive Council meeting in Anambra State. But because of his commitment to educational advancement, he made sure that I show up here to represent him because what we are discussing today is very important, especially considering his policy thrust in Anambra State. But before I continue, I'd like to put it out there. Is Miss Chinwe Okoli, please? Yes. All right. So I'm just going to share quickly what we are doing in Anambra State in line with the conversation that is ongoing today. The project 1 million, I would like to call it, by Athena and Educare, and how it aligns with what the government of Anambra State is already doing, what we're doing in the same direction. So we are talking about computer-based tests, which started in Nigeria like in 2013 with the JAMB, and we know now that WAEC is looking in that direction as well. And so the question becomes, how do we prepare the students to embrace, in fact, to be better prepared to take these exams? But I like to say in Anambra State, we are looking at it beyond just preparing the students to be able to take computer-based tests. We all know that today we are in the era where technology reigns supreme, and we say digital skills or digital knowledge has become the currency of the future. In fact, those who want to earn a lot of money are those who possess digital skills. So not just those who are able to take exams. So that shows you where we are and how important it is for this conversation, driving our educational system to embrace the changing the technological landscape in Nigeria. So for us in Anambra State, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, has actually a big digital and technological agenda. In fact, the agenda is one that is targeting, should I say, technological revolution in the states, as it were. So we are not just preparing students for exams, like I said earlier. So when the governor assumed office 2 years ago, he's a teacher, right? He has an educational background, so he considers himself first a teacher before anything else. And so you can imagine the priority educational sector is receiving in Anambra State. So, and he doesn't like a haphazard approach to things. And so before he goes into anything, he likes to think it through. And that thinking it through for the educational sector started with him first saying, okay, we need what I would call a structure to this. So first it was the structure. This is me now trying to box it into 3 key areas, looking at it from the governance or structure, then the other one, the human capital development strategy, and then the infrastructural development aspect to it. So these key things are actually where I would box everything we're doing towards technological advancement or pushing digital revolution in the States within the education sector and beyond. So first on the governance or the structural part, I'll call it, within the first 6 months, the governor established the Anambra State Education Advisory Council. And the governor is the chairman of that council. And with the chancellor here, the chancellor of Athena, being the vice chairman of that Anambra State Educational Advisory Council. And I'm delighted to be a member of that council. And that council started with the responsibility to chart the course, to shape the future of Anambra State through innovative educational strategies. So, and the council has come up with a report and recommended strategies to revolutionize the educational system. So you can imagine where our governor, who has agenda of everything technology everywhere, is a chairman of that council, and the chancellor here, who is championing CBT and technological advancement, is also a member of that council. You can only imagine what the report is about. So the report captures everything about integrating technology in the education system. We talked about data, framework, everything to make our educational system better as it is right now. And those recommendations are being implemented right now in the States. Then in the human capital development strategy part of it, within the first 9 months of the administration, the governor understood that for us to have pupils or students who understand how to use computer effectively, who can take exams, just like I think when he was speaking, when the MD of Educare was speaking, he mentioned that some of the students were failing, not just because of lack of, the ability to take exam, but the fact that the teachers hadn't taught well, right? So they fired some teachers and recruited better teachers, and they got better results. So for us, the governor started to end what we call the era of school without teachers. So we met a school system that required a lot of teachers in relevant subjects, including ICT. Because if you have all the computers, have the Wi-Fi, and you don't have the teachers to train the young people, I'm not sure we're going to achieve our goal. Is that correct? So the governor recruited 5,000 teachers within 9 months in office, and I understand it hasn't been done maybe by another governor within 9 months, taking that number of teachers, because that's a huge bill he was taking on. 5,000 teachers sent to different schools. And these 5,000 teachers, all of them took CBT exams. The selection process was merit-based, transparent, because we wanted to get the best to teach our students, to teach our pupils. Just like he said, many people are not prioritizing Nigeria right now, but we want that to change over time. So Nigeria becomes that place that people want to send their kids to because they are sure of the quality they are going to receive. And it didn't matter where the teachers came from. They didn't have to come from Anambra. So far you could teach. So, and then after that, right now, we are finalizing another set of recruitment, 3,000. And these additional 3,000 are for the hard-to-reach areas. You know, there are schools. You know, when you're choosing a job, if you're given a chance, even with NYSC students, there are places they don't want to go to. NYSC candidates, just like that, teachers, there are places they are not very keen to go to, right? So then government has to use policies and incentives to make sure that the young people in those areas actually get the same quality education. So that's the essence of recruiting additional 3,000 students, because for us, every young person in Anambra State matters, irrespective of where they live, how hard it is to reach their communities. So now that is 8,000 teachers. You can only imagine what it was before, and now with additional 8,000 teachers. So then, beyond recruiting the teachers, if we don't have all the that point where all the young people who are in school and they're embracing digital revolution and all of that will not be met. So the government also provided, declared truly free qualitative education in basic schools in Anambra State. That is the whole primary school and JSS 3. JSS 1 to 3. So what it means by truly free is that for the first time, no child in public school is asked to pay public school. When I mean public school and public mission, none of them is paying any levy or any form of fine. And then the senior secondary students are only paying 5,000, which is retained by their schools for maintenance, for operational expenses. And just moving it forward, the government, because the governor is so interested in digital revolution, you would have heard about Anambra Digital Tribe. And that digital tribe, the goal is that every young person in Anambra over the next few years becomes technologically savvy. So it wouldn't just be about preparing those who are in school to be able to take exam, but they become innovation drivers as we talk about technologically advanced world. And I'm just trying to wrap it up in in next few, and then I'll just talk about the infrastructural readiness. So there, beyond the policy of recruiting teachers and the students, now they are in school. Then what is the government? The infrastructure. Just a few days ago, give all the teachers in schools in 2,000 laptops, personal laptops, to receive MiFi, that's Wi-Fi, training on technological tools that would help them actually. Beyond that, the governor also set up the solution innovation. Already trained 25,000 persons, and many of them are teachers, and also as trainers, as we roll out our big agenda towards a larger Anambra digital tribe. So maybe if I get another chance, I can add to that. But on the internet part, right now in Anambra State, the pilot phase of the solution Wi-Fi, which is public Wi-Fi in public places, free Wi-Fi in public places, has been rolled out to more schools and more public 1,000 kilometers of fiber duct that has currently connected is government across the state that will enable last mile connection. State. With all of these, you will see that we are quite intentional in a digital tribe who will not just take CBT exams, and this is really in line, and we look forward to how we're going to work to achieve our mutual goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause. Okay, so I was going to say a few things to pass on quickly. So just to move agenda, we have joining us, I believe, virtually, ready to give his speech, and that's the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Governor Caleb Manasseh Mutswan. Yeah, Mutswan, yes, I said that. Thank you. Do we have His Excellency ready for his speech?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for joining us. Can I just ask that we have just exactly 3 minutes for your, 5 minutes, please, for your presentation?
Thank you again,
Thank you.
Athena Centre, and my brother, Chief Osita. For me, actually, this is more of a wake-up call than an intervention. As soon as I got to know about this Athena Educare strategic partnership, I had to get back to my Ministry of Education and ask questions. And what I was confronted with was rather embarrassing. That in the whole of Plateau State, we have only 21 CBT platforms, which is not enough to even cover the 17 local governments. Most of those 21 centers are even located in the state capital. And apparently, this is an area that has not been. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, they are hearing me. Okay. So apparently, this is an area that has not been given attention. And so what it means, 21 centers enrolling about 200 to 250 students per center gives you a little, just about 5,000 students in all. And certainly there has been these are all private sector initiatives. There has been no public sector involvement. And so, like I said, this is a wake-up call for me as governor. And I'd like to appreciate what the Athena Centre has done to open our eyes towards involvement in this initiative. What I can assure you is that by the grace of God, we're going to key into this partnership, and we're going to see how to be able to improve the capacity of our students to have access to these platforms. What is very clear, what we are grappling with here in Plateau State is that the density of access to IT facilities is very low. Not many students in secondary schools, not many students who are ready to write JAMB have even a personal computer. Most of these students are in private schools, but the public schools are in shambles. So we need to really come up with some speed in this regard. So I want to appreciate the Athena Centre. We will be coming. It's been good listening to some of the initiatives from other partners, from other states. And all I can say is that this has burdened my heart to seek ways of making sure that we improve our capacity to allow our children, our students to have access to ICT facilities and also to be able to participate fully in JAMB. What it means is that if WAEC starts CBT, we will be seriously disadvantaged. And we need to then leapfrog on this and get to deepen the penetration of ICT participation in our state. That's the much I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause has just been given to you there. And thank you for your commitment towards this partnership. And I'm sure we can hear more again from you during the panel discussion we would have shortly. Okay, I'd like, I believe, do we have, okay, please, do we have the representative of the governor of Kaduna State, Honorable Mohammed Sabi Bello, online?
Yes, yes, I'm online.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. Please, you have the stage now. We have 5 minutes for your speech. Thank you.
Okay, let me begin by acknowledging His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, who is with us, and as the probably most senior person in terms of the office he occupies, I want to sincerely extend my personal greetings to His Excellency and to the representative of their excellencies. And particularly also, I would like to thank the Educare and Athena Centre for this opportunity to participate in this discussion. Let me begin also by extending the sincere apologies of His Excellency Senator Obasani, the Governor of Kaduna State, who is unavoidably not been with us at this time. Is on a transit from a trip, so I am representing him in this presentation. Now, having listened to previous speakers, I don't want to really repeat any of such things that have been said. What I intend to do is to tell us a little bit about the situation in Kaduna State with regards to ICT in general, and in particular the CBT, which is the subject of discussion this afternoon. Now, with regards to ICT, Kaduna State prides itself with a director of ICT that is well equipped in terms of infrastructure and manpower, that is looking at everything to do with ICT across the state. And every aspect of governance is being looked at in succession, that is one after the other, to ensure that computerization is optimal, and frequent review in terms of results are also being performed. Having said that, with regards to the CBT, we have a number of centers in Kaduna State, especially those facilitated by the tertiary institutions, Kaduna State-owned tertiary institution, the Kaduna State University, the Nuba Mali Polytechnic, the College of Education. All this, they provide extension services with regards to CBT. Apart from dealing with using CBT for the purposes of conducting examination, tests, and other things within the university community, they also extend and provide such services to catchment communities. Every student who is about to write a CBT-based examination or test is allowed access to these facilities that are provided across the 3 senatorial zones in the state. And of course, again, given that the CBT infrastructure is a limited supply, we don't have the luxury of having all that is required. The Kaduna State government has deliberately decided to partner with Google Africa, Arewa Tech for Ladies, ZEDA, which stands for Zaria Education Development Authority, and a number of other NGOs who have been in Kaduna, and they have been keen in providing CBT infrastructure in their own right and making them available to our students who are preparing for CBT-based examination. So this is the way we go. And recently, the West African Examination Council has decided to establish a center, a CBT center in Kaduna State. It sent a requirement for minimum of 5 hectares of land, which has already been provided, and anytime soon they will be developing the center where thousands of students could access the CBT infrastructure in the state. And in terms of implementation of CBT based examination, our Kaduna State Quality Assurance Authority, which is responsible for conducting examination for basic education certificates. That is for those who completed their junior secondary school and aiming to senior secondary school. They write examination whether they are students from private or public schools across the state. So the examination is now being CBT based. So our students are being prepared to be familiar with CBT based testing, right from right from the junior secondary school at the end of their junior secondary education. So this is what we are doing in Kaduna. And once again, I would like to thank Athena Centre and Educare for the opportunity to speak on this subject matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your speech there. Thank you very much. Would just like to quickly move to that if we have His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, online with us, Governor Godwin Obaseki. Okay. Okay, so I believe he's not here with us for now. So just a round of applause, please, for all our speakers so far and all the commitments, of course, being made towards this particular cause. We need to move smoothly into our panel discussion that we'll be having right now. And the panel discussion is going to be talking about mainstreaming the computer-based testings in education, and of course to carry on enhancing the digital learning platforms and enabling access to CBTs nationwide. We have three of our panel members already on the stage. I just need to confirm that we still have Governor Mutwan, please, are you still with us? Just to confirm who we have.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure you're still with us for the discussion. Just to also confirm as well, if we have the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Kaduna State, are you still with us?
Yes, very much so.
Awesome. And I believe we are complete to go about the discussion quickly as possible. Okay, so I'm going to start by just directing this question to Miss Okoli. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start by maybe, of course, directing this question now to Governor Mufswan. Can I ask that what are some of the opportunities, sir, for collaboration and partnership between the various government agencies, educational institutions, and private sector stakeholders to enhance the access of CBT or to CBT for secondary school students nationwide?
Thank you, moderator. I think the opportunities are quite massive. What has been lacking, apparently, is the lack of political will to create the enabling environment for critical stakeholders to participate in expanding the infrastructure for CBT, for example. When the government is even neglecting its own schools, the motivation for private individuals and corporate organizations to come in is hardly there. Now that we have come to this point, we want to be very intentional from this moment. We want to be very deliberate from this point going forward, where we will take the lead in mobilizing all the critical stakeholders, NGOs, faith-based organizations, wealthy individuals, corporate organizations, to really come up with a strategy for expanding the critical infrastructure to enable students be able to participate in the CBT exams. And so this is the mainstreaming that we need to do. It's going to become a policy henceforth that even in our private schools, we're going to ensure that when we are issuing licenses, that there must be a readiness to be able to create these platforms. And so it's a massive deficit we have, but I think the deficit presents us with also a massive opportunity. And this is what we'll be driving from this point onwards.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Just to ask, what do you think would be a major challenge that might affect this collaboration that you see within the next few months?
Well, I think the first challenge for me is going to, of course, from the public sector side will be finance, will be funding. And that is why we need to have the critical buy-in of other stakeholders so that the burden on the public treasury is reduced. But at the same time, we must be able to show the other stakeholders that we mean business. And so we must be able to put in some good effort in showing leadership in this regard. Going beyond the issue of funding is that we need to embark on massive campaigns at this point in time, because like I told you earlier, some of my local governments have not even heard about CBT. And so it's going to be a challenge to try to bring them on board through massive campaigns. Again, it's a function of funding at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Okay, I'll be moving to the Honorable Commissioner for Education for Kaduna State, Honorable Mohammed Sabi Bello, for this question. Now, I'd like to ask, what are the most critical changes in policy that the education sector must make to face the future effectively? I mean, looking at all that has been shared today and all the information that we're getting, what would you say would be the critical changes in policy that needs to be done in our sector?
Thank you very much. I think in terms of policy, the most important change that is required is to take a decision that we are going digital. That means every process, every aspect of governance and administration will now be digitalized. With that policy in mind, then we can now begin to look at, okay, what are the constraints to the realization of this particular objective? And of course, His Excellency has already mentioned one of the constraints, that is finance. But beyond finance, I think the most important constraint is really the issue of the, the incubation. That is the teachers, those who are going to really pass the information or the knowledge to the target group. Because even if you have the funding, and then there is a problem regarding educators in the digital space, then you are stuck with your resources. So we have to begin by educating or producing a large number of educators or potential educators who are going to provide the required skills to the target group. Secondly, as a challenge again, there is the issue, of course, of the equipment, the infrastructure. Now, the infrastructure, they need to be affordable. They need to be in some quantity that can serve a large number of potential users, so that this idea of education, like in the words of Gilbert 2013 rather, saying that education should now be a verb rather than a noun. A verb is something we do, not something we possess. That should be the new thinking regarding knowledge and education. So skills, and skills. But we have to start from somewhere, as I said, with the educators before we now expand to the target group.
Thank you very much. Would you like to share if there are any mechanisms already on ground, for example, in Kaduna State, addressing some of these challenges regarding infrastructure and building more again on the skills of these teachers, if you'd like to share?
Yes, what we have been able to do in Kaduna State with regards to infrastructure provision and teaching those who will be teachers is first, as I said earlier, we have a full-blown directorate of ICT. And every ICT-related policy derives from that directorate. And that directorate also takes every sector of governance and administration and ensure that the required ICT skills or infrastructure are provided. So we have a priority starting from the Minister of Finance, next education, and like that. So every aspect is being looked at. Then secondly, with regards to the training, I have earlier mentioned that in our state-owned tertiary institutions, we have centers, ICT centers, whereby future teachers and future educators are regularly being trained. You don't have to be a regular student before you are enrolled into that program. We also have the opportunity of proximity with Ahmadu Bello University, which has, I think, probably the most robust distant learning facility. We also have the National Teachers Institute, also located within the state. So there is a collaboration, deliberate collaboration between the state government and these institutions with regards to educating the future and present or current educators in the ICT environment.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Honorable Bello there. Thank you very much for responding to that question. I think I'm going to move just quickly to Alex before I move to Ms. Okoli. Alex, can I ask that what are the challenges presently encountered has been learned throughout CBT to secondary school students, along with the recommendations for overcoming these obstacles?
Okay, thank you for the question. Part of the discoveries that we've seen so far is that the number of the unreached are so much. I mean, haven't I mentioned?
Right.
And so one of the things we had to do different was, can we focus energy on what we have,
right,
than focus energy on what we are yet to get or what we don't have? And that was why we said, you know what? Many Nigerians have a mobile phone. And even if they don't have as a person, somebody in their family may have one. Can we capitalize on that so that we can give more children access as we are waiting to buy big computers in big CBT centers,
sure,
which, you know, those things are more expensive now and it may take a longer time to actualize. So that's really helped us to be able to reach a lot more people now than we could have ever done before. Like, you can remember when the governor said one CBT center can take like 250 people, but one assessment with mobile phone can take 2,000 people. And everybody can write their assessment, feel fulfilled, feel willing to practice more. So you can see the difference. So I think that's one of the things I've discovered. And I was telling my team then that, we looked at the UBEC statistics, 13.5 million children are out of school. And I feel that that number should be like 3 times. Yes, because when you start seeing the concentration of some of these people,
Right.
I mean, it start looking a little bit differently. So these are some of the discoveries so far.
Thank you very much. But would you say again that, I mean, you gave examples of how, trying to get other family members to, to help. How would you say the media could play a role even in pushing out that support as well for you?
I think the biggest, I think a lot more people need to be aware, because I've never really seen any child who is aware and have experienced it and didn't fall in love with it. So if we can get more children to be aware through the media and more family members to support them by giving them their phone for just an hour, and I think that alone can help a lot more people to be reached.
Fantastic, thank you. So media, please take note. Okay, so I'm going to be moving to Ms. Okoli now. Can you please discuss the significance of incorporating CBT into secondary education curricula to prepare the students for not only JAMB exams, but also the digital age, and to equip them with essential technological skills?
Thank you very much. So I like that question because it kind of subtly answers itself.
Yes.
Because we're not talking about just preparing the students for CBT exams, but preparing them, like empowering them to navigate the technological landscape and contribute to, driving Nigeria to the future we want to be. And so here I like to bring it back to Anambra State again. The importance of this cannot be overstated. And just like he mentioned, a lot of people are actually in the hard to reach areas. They're in areas where they never get to see computer until the first day. So in Anambra State, in Mr. Governor's effort to make Anambra the digital and creative capital of Nigeria, that's what and then the Smart Mega City project, which will be driven by these young people, and be. If you've paid attention to the news in the last few years, you would see that Anambra State in JAMB, our young people, in spite of the, should I say, not having too many computers maybe at home, personal computers or phones, they've been really doing us proud. Anambra State has maintained the lead in the results we see. Even last year. In fact, I even saw even the one for the blind, someone, I mean, the award for the blind YX student was also to a Anambra student. So now, how are we working to ensure that as YX prepares to go digital and as JAMB continues in that space, how can Anambra maintain our lead? So he mentioned earlier that beyond just the computers, knowing the subject areas where the students are not doing well and seeing what to do about it can help. And I think with this mock exam that is being planned, this project 1 million, data from that can actually help us a lot. And I see that helping us a lot in Anambra State, so that we know where to focus and to ensure that some people who are planning for JAMB or CBT exams will not be meeting computers. In Anambra State, we have out of all the CBT centers in the state, and now we have, of course, there are some other centers that are not equipped with computers. What we want to do, what we've use all of those centers for young people to go there, get trained, so that they won't be seeing computers for the first time on their exam day. And we call them the mini hubs. So in Anambra State, we have the Solution Innovation District driving this. Just for those that are hearing it for the first time, Solution Innovation District is our own version of Silicon Valley, right? So everything about digital skills, startups, digital skills training and innovation, that's what we do. So part of democratizing access to computers, access to digital skills, access to these opportunities is leveraging the CBT centers to train our people. And the end goal is that Anambra maintains its lead, especially with this data now that we're going to get to know where to focus, what subjects to, to focus on. At the end of the day, what we want is to maintain our lead. Have more millions of young people, thousands of young people in Anambra State, not just a few now, but thousands of them being at the tops. I think that's where I'll leave it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm really glad the way you keep talking about how Anambra State is taking the lead. So we get the subtle hint, and that's great. And that also can, it shows as well that other states can follow suit and, find out how well Anambra State is doing and take it from there. So thank you very much for that response. Now I've moved, and this will be our last question because of time, and this is to Chief Osita Chidoka. Can you just discuss the impact of technology on students' learning outcomes, academic performance, and overall educational experience as observed in these respective states, or your respective states?
Thank you very much. And again, thank you to the governor of Plateau State, the governor of Kaduna State, Anambra State, the governor of Edo. We've just been testing, there's been an impeachment in Edo State today of the deputy governor, and there's a swearing in of a new deputy governor. So I understand his unavoidable absence. But I want to say that what we're doing today is just the beginning of something phenomenal. It's phenomenal because we're democratizing access in an unprecedented manner. And this democratization of access is not just about the JAMB 2024 exam. You are going to see more of this democratization because there are more than we're going to see. We're not satisfied with where Anambra is today. We're not satisfied that there are that 2.9%, that's about the people they said are children out of school in Anambra. We have like 2,000 plus students out of school. We're asking, where are these 2,000 people? Which families do they come from? Why are they not in school? We're not satisfied. We're not going to accept 10,000 students out of school. But beyond that, we're going to use technology to crack the problem, to understand school supervision, school inspection, and then outcomes of learning, to see that those outcomes lead to winning. So I'm happy that the governors are here today, the governors present. We are not just going to stop with this CBT. We're going to give you data in an unprecedented manner. And we're going to give the students a tool in their hands to know that I am weak in mathematics, and these are the areas where I am weak. I am weak in English because I don't know how to conjugate. I don't know how to use verbs. I am weak in government because I don't know the history of Nigeria's political evolution. That information distinguishes Nigeria and makes it possible for us to compete globally. Our goal in Athena Centre, working with Educare, is to make Nigerian students compete globally.
Fantastic, and a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to be taking questions. If we have any questions, thank you. Can I have the mic to be given to him? Also, for our virtual audience joining us as well, if you've got questions, please feel free to pass that on as soon as possible in the chat box, and it will be passed on to me, or we would open up the mic for you to speak. Thank you. Okay? Please, could you introduce yourself, your name, and...
Good afternoon, ladies
Good afternoon.
and gentlemen. Peter Inalewu is my name. I write for Africa Science and Tech Digest. Now, I marked WAEC exams for 10 years. And one of the years I was marking WAEC, I came across scripts from Enugu State. And when I looked at the level of performance, it was below my expectation. Now, there's this common occurrence in the Southeast whereby the young people prefer to go to trading and to business rather than to going for higher education.
Yes.
Chief Osita, I don't know whether the narrative has changed in Enugu State.
Anambra State, you mean?
No. Enugu.
You want to use Enugu? Okay.
But it's okay. I can take the arrow. I can talk about Enugu.
Oh,
so
okay.
That narrative of
is that it?
Students not going to school in the Southeast is...
Sorry, Chief Osita, he has two questions. So
he has two questions?
That. Yes.
Okay. But, yeah.
Quickly, please.
Yes. My second question. I visited a school in Nasarawa State. And when I looked around the school, there was no electric pole in that school. So automatically, there was no electricity in that place. And if you look at internet penetration in Nigeria, in our rural areas, it is quite poor. Mm-hmm. I mean, is it really fair, if we put so much stress on computer-based tests for our children? Commissioner from Anambra State, you said you set a computer-based test for 5,000 teachers. How many of them passed? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead. You could respond first. No?
So the narrative about the boys and the girls in school or the students not going to school in the Southeast is not fully the picture of the Southeast. It's not a full picture. The collapse of education is a nationwide collapse. So what you are seeing in the Southeast is only symptomatic. It is our private efforts that has kept the students performing at above national average. The problem is that Nigeria's national average is low. So when you link anybody to Nigeria's national average, then you see that the person is doing quite well. So in Anambra State, we have made a decision. We are no more going to measure by the Nigerian average. We are going to measure ourselves with 3 countries. We want to measure ourselves with Singapore. We want to measure ourselves with India. We want to measure ourselves with Poland. We've adopted these 3 places as the measurement for Anambra. Otherwise, what we are getting from South Africa, what we are getting from Egypt does not equate to where we want to be. So we are looking to where we want to be. We standard to work with. That's why I said that what we're doing in Anambra now, trying to sort out the problem with data. I always like people to talk about the challenges to Nigeria. But this is the same Nigeria that people told MTN, you cannot work because you do not have power in Nigeria. So it will be costly for you to generate telecommunications. Today, MTN's richest, most profitable venture is in Nigeria, where they use diesel, not in South Africa, where they use public power. And the reason is simple. Let's be looking at solutions to problems. So the governor of Plateau, if he's here, my advice is that states should focus a lot more on solar energy in rural schools. The program has started with the federal government under Fashola. They have put solar energy in about 8 universities. He just shared the data recently with me. This is massive solar energy systems. Some of them cost about 8 billion naira to provide. But the idea is that BUK's area, Ekweme University in Ebonyi are all going to be running on solar, a hybrid, but majorly on solar. So I'm thinking that the energy we need for computers to work is not as significant that will require us to start thinking of electric cables.
Okay.
It may make us to start thinking of solar energy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just to state that she is not the commissioner. Mr. Kole is not the commissioner. Commissioner is on joining us virtually. Would you want to still respond to
just a quick,
that statement? Okay.
So I'm not the commissioner for education. The special advisor to the governor on innovation and business incubation. So I lead the Solution Innovation District. Okay, so the question was how many
of them passed?
The 5,000 were the ones that passed. So they were way more than that. I think the first one, I'm not exactly sure, but I think over 8,000 people took the exams. But for you to qualify, you have to pass. So those 5,000 were those that passed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have another question here. Wow, so many questions. Okay, can we just keep it straight? Yeah, quickly. Your name, please.
Thank you. My name is Honorable Bina Chidoka. My question goes to the governor of Plateau State. I can see he's still here.
Yes.
And I want to say that I want to thank him immensely for joining online, showing the importance he places on education. So my question is very simple. Your Excellency, do we see from the next budget an improvement on your allocation into education, bearing in mind all the infrastructure needed for CBT, for innovation, technology, and every accessory needed to put education on the map in Plateau State? Do I today hope that we'll see that? Being a former honorable member and working with the budget, I want to see an improvement. So do we give us your guarantee that by next year, we'll see an improvement in the budget and that of other states as well? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellency, the floor is yours. Okay, the mic is muted at yours. Your Excellency, Caleb Mutswan. Okay. Okay, I think he might not be there at the moment, but we could hold up on that question for him. Right. Okay, we have another one, please. Okay, let's be gender sensitive. Can I have this lady's question and I'll come back to you? Please. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank Iko Bosi and Mr. Alex Onya, who I'm meeting for the first time, for this opportunity. I am a senior citizen, and I'm an educator and educationist, if you know the difference.
And your name, ma'am, please?
My name is Dame Joan Oji. Dame Joan Oji.
Thank you.
I am a consultant in education with strong emphasis on English language use, because I see English as binding all the subjects we're talking about. Now, I want to ask whether it has occurred to the organizers of this, the fact that AI, artificial intelligence, is being used now by a lot of young people, not I, because I'm not young. And that all along in education and in testing, there has always been the tendency to cheat in examinations. A time was when Obi Ezekwesili was Minister of Education, And some centers were banished for encouraging exam malpractice on a scale never known before. And some of those centers, I'm sorry to say, were in the south of Nigeria. Now I've lived and worked in the north for 50 years, and I'm very familiar with the fact that up north, somebody with a third class can hold his position and defend that third class against someone else from elsewhere. And with JAMB going digital now, CBT and WAEC about to join, I want to say we should prepare for massive cheating that will give credibility to post-UTME. Because if CBT was to be relied upon, there won't be any need for post-UTME. There will still be post-UTME, despite the high scores that students are getting now. Okay. And I want to also mention that IELTS, a code for International English Language Test Course, is something many Nigerians, especially those from the private sector, push for. I'll be asked, Ma, I want to sit IELTS. And I'm like, how good is your English? Your English is not good enough, and you are the last to admit it. And so British Council is making billions out of Nigerian students who want to study abroad. Okay. Because like we all know, the public school system in Nigeria is dead. Now buried, they never bury. Okay. That's just the truth. Okay. So let us hope that governors, when I said Mutfang, I was an undergraduate in Ahmadu Bello University, and I know a cousin of his by that name. That's how I know to pronounce it. Mutfang. Governor Mutfang, I want to thank you for your determination to start from the public sector in Plateau State, because that's where I was married when it was Old Benue Plateau. And I still love Jos because 2 of my children graduated from University of Jos. Thank you. So let us hope that public schools will be the focus of the innovation we are working on. Right. Because when compared with private schools are a micro minority in the number of students sitting these standardized computer.
I mean, you started off by saying AI. You were trying to speak to the organizers of the of this event, and so could you just link that back?
AI can be abused, and it's right now being abused. Right. I am into editing and proofreading for researchers, and I can spot.
Yeah. So is this a question to Alex in relation to how he's going to ensure that it's not?
Both to Alex and Chief.
So Alex, please, if you can just
please watch it, because there will be plagiarism, there will be cheating if we don't have in place.
Okay, let's hear from him.
How to check
thank you.
the abuse of AI by lazy Nigerian students.
Okay, so I want to make something a little bit clear. So we have part of our research team as Educare, we have some at University of Cambridge and also University of Westminster. And then we've been working on advanced AI for the past 5 years. And if you've ever used our technology, you understand that cheating is almost impossible. There's a lot of advancement. Most of the computations, analysis you see is being powered by AI. So yeah, even what you see that they use is powered by AI. So one of the things you need to understand is that students are trying, yes, they're doing a lot of amazing stuff, but most of the time we are always like light years ahead of them. So we understand all this dynamic. I don't know the software JAMB uses. I don't know who builds it. I don't know how it works. But I mean, if they use our own infrastructure, I'm sure that those kind of things will almost be eliminated. So based on what we are using for whatever we are doing here is actually highly advanced, and it has been proven and tested over a very long period.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. I'm happy you mentioned University of Westminster because I went there. Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Kenneth Kwalefna, Chair and Chairman of Governing Board of Information Marketing and Management Institute. I'd like to say that you excite me. A battle I took with my team far back in 2013 is what you are playing up. And we were engaging government. We were battling because you already have ICT for development policy 2013. And all those policy work that were done. So today, or rather after what had happened in, is it Chidinma? There was a girl in JAMB saga. Yes, after that crisis, yeah, Mesoma, yeah. Maybe some of us have seen that there has been a lot of silent scam going on within the system. We do not blow trumpet of evil happening in our world. So the best thing you do is you can talk to government and don't let it escalate, because down there in Europe and America, they run database of what you are saying and use it against you after a long time. So for some of us who do information management, we're careful. The big deal now is that I will ask a question. Doing exam preparation and preparing the student itself in the proper holistic school, which one is actually more critical?
Okay, thank you.
Because education...
Do you want an answer to that? So
I'm coming.
okay.
Yes, this is one question,
Right.
which I'll build the background. Then my second question.
Okay.
Huh?
You just go straight to the question.
That second question is the infrastructure we talk about.
Right.
Is commercial, is investment that can be driven if only you can create investment framework.
Okay.
So what investment framework will be available for private schools? Because I'm aware that UBEC is still funded.
Okay.
And Nigeria have not created any out of UBEC policy framework to even have a full independence of our school system. We are not able to fund education at all as a nation.
Okay. Who's your question directed to?
To who you may concern.
Okay. Because we have two other questions virtually, and
let
yes.
Athena answer my questions.
Please.
Thank you.
So first of all, the issue of JAMB and cheating is over-bloated story. The Mesoma saga only reinforced the integrity of JAMB, not otherwise. And the reason is because Mesoma took the exam at my CBT center. So the CBT center where she wrote the exam was Thomas. I'm answering your question. Or should we move on to the next issue? Because you're having another conversation. Okay. So Mesoma took that exam in my center, the Thomas Chidoka Center in Ogosi. And when she brought out that whatever, of course I knew it was fake, because that's not the JAMB result for that year. And by then, she didn't no longer just Thomas Chidoka, it's now Nkemefuna Foundation. Anybody that took exam in that center had that. The reason was because of an issue we had with JAMB. Wanted the name on the accounts they pay to reflect on the name of the center. So she was fake. But what JAMB came out and said, this is her interaction with our database. She paid and pinged the system 5 times. Each time, she entered her own result that she wanted, and the system returned her correct results. And this is a record of the interaction between her phone and our IT system. And I said, that's all that any government agency needs to do. And I quickly came out and said, please don't listen to the hysteria. There's no Igbo problem here. There's no ethnic problem here. The girl is fraudulent. The result she brought out is not the correct result. And eventually the girl owned up. So it goes to prove the resilience and the integrity of the JAMB system. I even took a swipe at another agency. I said, INEC, can't you study what JAMB has done? If people accuse you of rigging, why don't you bring out your system and say, this is the results that we uploaded in our system, and this is what happened to that system.
Did you get a response?
So, of course, they didn't respond. But the important message here is that we should stop over-bloating the issue of the integrity of our national infrastructure. There may be weaknesses once in a while, but each time is an opportunity for learning and fixing it. And I believe that we have, the systems are quite strong and robust. And what we need to do is preparing the students in education is far more important than preparing them for exam. But the only way we can know whether they were prepared is by testing them. If we do not test them, we won't know whether they were prepared. So if you, for all your life, you go to school learning and we don't test you, we will never know whether you learned well or not. So the two are actually intertwined.
Awesome.
And one and the same.
Thank you so much. We have a question virtually, but Ms. Okoli needs to give a clarification on something. I'll just give you 1 minute quickly, please.
Yes. Okay. Hello, sir. You asked a question about the number of people that passed the 5,000. So I just got the correct figure. 42,000 plus people took the exams, and then out of that, 5,000 were recruited.
Could you scroll quickly down? Right. So we have a question from Mar Akaran. It says that how does Athena, especially because there is the assumption that because they can text. However, deaf education is as they have restricted access.
So we haven't gotten into the
right.
So it looks like that's one of the areas you're focusing on it.
Okay, thank you. Could you scroll up again? Let me get the other question. Yes, but we've not gotten from our virtual audience. I'm trying to be balanced here. Okay, I'll take one more. Could you scroll quickly so I can see? So my name is Dr. Chibueze Ofobueke. I am the chairman of Aguata local government area of Anambra State. Great thanks to the Athena Centre and Educare for the great works they are doing through the partnership. My question goes to Chief Osita Chidoka. Despite setting up 2 ICT hubs in 2 locations within that local government area for the purpose of CBT preparatory program for students in my local government, I still want to know, in your opinion, how best local government councils in the entire federation can get involved in this drive, right? And what can local councils do differently?
Excellent. I'm so happy the local government chairman is here, and he's a very innovative local. So the fundamental regional sin in Nigeria is the fact and nationalized it. It's an issue, especially primary, secondary education. So what he's asking, if the governor was talking about the absence of, if every local government in Nigeria, the CBT centers and managing them, the government automatically 100 and something CBT centers across the country. Immediately for us, the private sector like us who are involved in are not once a year and then they come back the next year for more. CBT center makes money from running a CBT center. Local government partnership that makes that CBT center the hub of Nigeria. So if the local governments, and I'm going to reach out to Algon with the local government chairman in Anambra, we have to reach out to Algon to have this existing CBT centers, plus the ones the state can build around clusters of schools, the local governments can build. Quality education. So you don't need to go to Westminster University to get Westminster degree now. We can actually make it happen in Aguata. We can actually make it happen in Enugu North. Where Alex comes from is a community that, in spite of how he said the people were failing, it's just the failure that happened in recent time. That's the town of Chief Sisiono. That's the town of all the people that were dominant in Enugu at a particular point in time. But like everything that has happened in Nigeria, we moved everything to the state capital. We moved everything to the national. We went to federal government colleges and forgot that the bulk of our students are in our rural schools. So I'm very fascinated with him that he went back to his roots to begin to show this education to the people in Ungo community. So I think that the local governments have a great role to play here. And I think that the governor should actually support us to activate a local government involvement in computer-based testing. That will be a very fast and quick way to mainstream it. In Idemili North local government, there are South, there are 11, and in Oyi local government, there are about 6 secondary schools. Now, these 40 secondary schools, if the 3 local government centers, 2 each or 1 each in every of these local governments, I can assure you that about almost 1,000 students, and there are only 3,900 students in these 3 local. In public schools, there are 11,000 in private schools. Education in Nigeria is actually in retreat. So I think that the local government question is very apt, and we should look into it.
Excellent, thank you. And I can't see the person behind the screen. I think there was someone there.
Yes.
Right, please go ahead. Just go straight to the question because of time.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mr. Emmanuel Obiekezie. I'm a research student from River State University, Port Harcourt. I'm glad that we are having the ICT talks in education because I'm researching about ICT in health communication. One, I want to reflect on what Dame said, that a third-class student in the North can equal a first-class student in the South. I think that statistics is correct. Yes. I'm from Anambra State. We used to know ourselves is that whatever you want to do, you must be a practice. Even for you to do exam malpractice, smart and intelligent. A dumb student cannot do exam malpractice. So I think to a reasonable correct.
She stands corrected.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. I want program for at least having a talk of this nature. For me, I was going to the field to get my some files from the field, most especially medical doctors and hospital medical practitioners. I even found out that it was difficult for most medical practitioners to know what ICT is all about in hospitals, not to talk more of students in rural areas. For example, Anambra is doing very well. I was a student of Nnamdi Azikiwe University. That was where I did my first degree and my master's in River State University. There are towns that you cannot talk of physical education, not to talk more of computer-based. Now this goes to the government. Orientation. More of this should go down inside communities. Because it's not all about coming to Abuja to speak. Even for people to write JAMB, remember, JAMB is for those that were able to pass WAEC. At least you are. For the governors that are in this program, there is need something like a committee in the education sector to give more orientation to those regions so that they will know more about computer. Let me tell you, most young persons can make use of their phones, but when you give them computer, they don't know what to do. What we are talking about is more of computer based, right? So orientation and trainings upon trainings upon trainings. It might not happen 3 years, 5 years time. But for now, I don't think the country is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Just a quick forms of CBT.
Right.
And there is assistance on CBT that has led the CBT Centre and the community. Believe firmly that Nigeria is a leading in Africa, and we need to deepen it. Digital. There is no more you in their villages and still think that they will be global competitors. For me today is that while education, those who are in the rural communities, instead of questioning the chicken and the egg which came first, let's with those who are already taking the CBT.
Exactly.
And are formidable, is a sizable number. That's the population. 1 million people writing JAMB. Yes. So let's target that audience. Preparatory tests. Let's make them to understand how to use.
Exactly. Thank you. And this is also, I think, one of the reasons why he's just being used for examinations during the in which, you know, these skills can be used to train students on a regular basis. So please, this is here to stay, and let's be supportive of it. Thank you very much. Right. I think this will be the end. We're out of time. I'm sure that during the networking session, we can also still ask more questions. There's refreshments right at the back. But I'd just like to say thank you and a round of applause, please, to our panelists also joining us as well virtually. This was a very, very great session. And truth is that if we've got 1 more hour, we can keep asking and going back and forth with more and more questions, right? But one of the things I'd just like to say here is just to say that the partnership and the collaboration between these 2 amazing organizations, for me, is revolutionary. And we just have to hope and pray that the impact in our educational sector, based on what they're trying to do, will come to, what's that word now? Yes, we'll come there. Thank you very much. So 1 million students, that's our goal. And we have the responsibility to do what we can within our own spheres of influence to see how to support this great partnership as well. So please, a round of applause as they step down from the stage. Should I would you like to say something to end this? Because we're literally, yeah, okay, so the end. So thank you very much. We've got refreshment at the very back. We'll take some pictures. Yes, I think we should, yeah, you probably need me as well. Okay, so please, refreshment is right at the back. Thank you so much for your time. We sincerely appreciate each and every one of you joining us, and also to our virtual audiences. Thank you. We're just wrapping up here. Those that sent in questions, we appreciate you. So we're just sending you virtual refreshments as well. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. My name is Angela Omeza, and it was lovely doing this with you.
Yes, I am.
Good work. Very good
Thank
work.
you very much. I tried to get the name.
You are really copying notes.
Yeah, I knew there was a trigger in there. Right. Thank you. Oh, sorry.